All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm showing 2 o'clock, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Byron Chapman, Mayor of Middletown. Welcome. Number 2 would be the roll call by our Executive Director, Jared Haley. Jared?
Honorable John Black. Honorable John Logan Brent. Honorable Sean Crothers.
Here.
Honorable Byron Chapman.
Here.
Honorable Beverly Chester Burton. Oh, I saw it earlier. Honorable Jack Kaufman. I see you, Jack. Honorable Mel Deere. Mayor Deere. Mr. Brian Dixon. Honorable David Eaton.
Here.
Mr. Kevin Beatty.
Here.
Mr. Jeff O'Brien for the Honorable Greg Fisher.
Here.
Honorable Jeff Gahan. Mr. Keith Griffey.
Here.
Honorable Treva Hodges. Mr. John Park for the Honorable Dane Eisen. Mr. Andy Crouch. Honorable Todd Pollock.
Present.
Honorable John Riley.
Here.
Honorable Joe Robinson. Honorable Jerry Summers. Honorable Rick Tanini.
Here.
Honorable Jim Travis.
Here.
And the Honorable David Vogel. We do have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
All righty, we do.
Mr. Burton is here.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, we do have a quorum, so we're ready to roll on with number 3. I do welcome everyone. You know, usually by this time we've had a big lunch and we've enjoyed ourselves, so hopefully next year we can get back in gear for that. But do welcome everyone for the Zoom meeting. Item number 4 is our minutes. We need a motion to approve our minutes of last month.
I'll make that motion. Todd Pollock.
Ron, thank you. I have a motion. I have a second.
See Kevin Beatty.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any additions or corrections? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion does carry. Item number 5 is the Transit Authority of River City. Our executive director needs to introduce this a new executive director of TARC. Jared?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are excited to welcome Carrie Butler. Carrie is the new executive director for TARC, the Transit Authority of the River Cities in Louisville, Kentucky. Her role includes overseeing the agency's $80 million operating budget and over 600 employees, providing nearly 14,000 trips per day over 20 routes throughout the KIPDA region. Since 2014, Ms. Butler has served as general manager of LexTran in Lexington, Kentucky. She is president of the Kentucky Clean Fuels Coalition and has previously served on the Planning Commission and Lexington Senior Services Commission. Welcome, Ms. Butler.
Great, thank you. I have, thank you for that introduction and thank you for having me today. I have a few slides that I'd like to go over, and I will attempt to share my screen if that will work, and we'll get going. Okay. I'm hoping that everybody can see a picture of PowerPoint, TARC at a glance, and a picture of Union Station. That is the goal. And I start with that picture of our main headquarters there at 10th and Broadway. as a reminder of the history and sort of importance of public transportation in our community, the building was built in 1890, so it's definitely an old facility. And you see down the streetcars and then the cab stand to the right of the streetcar in the middle of Broadway. So a long history of transportation and public transportation in our community, and just, always a good reminder of how important that is and how long it has been a part of how people travel around. The next slide is a picture of our most recent class of bus drivers. They took off or violated social distancing for just a minute to pose for the picture, but kept their mask on, and we're happy to welcome them to our team. Our mission to explore and implement transportation opportunities that enhance the social, economic, and environmental well-being of the greater Louisville community, and have been doing that for just about 40 years in our current incarnation. Services. I think a lot of people know about TARC, but just a quick reminder, we provide fixed route bus service on both local and a few express routes. We also have a handful of circulators that operate in a neighborhood. We operate 7 days a week, nearly 24 hours a day, from about 5:30 a.m. to just after 1 a.m. for some of our routes. We also provide an Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, paratransit service. That is a service a shared ride service that is provided for people who, by nature of their disability, can't ride fixed route service. And we contract that through an agreement with MV Transportation, and TARC has contracted paratransit service for a number of years with different transportation companies, MV, First Transit, Laidlaw years ago. The other program that we do that maybe you don't know as much about, but we're really proud of, is a very long-standing partnership that TARC and KIPDA and the Transportation Department have operated, which is a van pool program. It's now called Every Commute Counts, and you may have seen the vans, the blue with the new logo on it. And that's a really important piece of a regional transportation system, because it allows folks who maybe work together, maybe if you live in Louisville but you work in Frankfort, a way to share the expense of your transportation commute. So people either can sign up for a carpool where somebody drives their own car and you share the ride, or through a van pool where you share the cost of that van and the gas and the like. So that Every Commute Counts has been just a really great partnership and very long-standing between KIPDA and TARC. So really proud of that program, and I certainly think it speaks to a way that we can provide transportation even in a very challenging time. Reasons to ride. We hear lots of different reasons why people choose to ride. A lot of it has to do with parking costs. Maybe people want more independence in their lives. You can save a good bit of money without having to pay for the expense or maintenance of a car. You may have some environmental reasons. And, you can TikTok while you ride. If you have teenagers, you certainly know what TikTok is. But really, it is the way to be more productive in the time that you're spent commuting or traveling about in the city. So that's one of our just things we like to think about why people choose to ride public transportation or choose to ride TARC. Our customers, they're everyone. I consider that everyone in our community is a customer, maybe a potential customer, but given that we are funded through tax dollars, I think it's important to keep in mind we are funded through those tax dollars, and so we think of everyone as a customer. Our riders tend to be students, people who are going to work every day. Maybe they don't like to drive, maybe they can't drive, or it may be the people that have sort of a civic mindedness or environmental mindedness, so they choose to ride because they feel like it's making a great impact or less of an impact on the climate. Some of our sustainability initiatives, I've got a lot on here, and TARC has done a lot over the years, so I'll just kind of highlight two key pieces. We have made some investment both in updates to our old Union Station building, built pre-1900, and as you can imagine, it wasn't exactly built for modern energy efficiency standards then. So we've made improvements to the HVAC, also windows, insulation that really helps us keep our maintenance cost of such an old building down. We also built a LEED Gold certified maintenance annex a few years back, so have made both, any new building that we have been able to construct has been LEED certified or making an eye towards sustainability. The other major place where we've made investment is in our fleet. So we have 15 zero emission electric buses and then 32 diesel electric hybrids, and one that has some cool geofencing where when it enters downtown, it goes into a hybrid or electric mode. So trying different things on ways that we can be diverse with our fleet and our fueling, and looking to next spring to do our second photovoltaic solar array on one of our, so a lot of different avenues that we've been able to go down to, improve sustainability that sort of seeks that balance of, good business practice with also responding to environmental concerns. Projects and successes. This is, an interesting slide for me coming in because truth be told, I really didn't have very much to do with these projects, but, proud of the team. And actually at TPC just a little bit ago, we won a KITE award for our Dixie Rapid Transit and the project that we did on Dixie Highway in collaboration with KYTC and Louisville Metro. So kind of a nice thing to hear at the meeting right before this. We've made an update to our website, added a new app for, customer-facing application if you're riding the bus. We also updated our fare collection system, so you may have seen the My TARC card that makes it a lot easier when you're riding to just be able to tap and go when you get on board. So really excited, a lot of good work, started a comprehensive operations analysis back in 2019 and then 2020. So like the rest of us, we spent a lot of time in the past 7-8 months just looking at how we can respond to COVID and how we can continue to provide that essential service to our community in the midst of a global pandemic. Budget and funding, I won't belabor this because I'm sure this group is all too familiar with federal transportation funding, but we see, federal, local, and state as our primary funding sources. The majority of it is from our operating dollars come from the local Jefferson County occupational license fee that was from a referendum passed in 1974, fair revenue, advertising revenue, federal funds, and as we are on the eve of the expiration of the FAST Act and, continuing resolution. So looking towards that next federal authorization bill, possibly a new Congress, new administration, and how those new federal funds, which we really count on to do a lot of our capital projects as well as sort of help with operations to make those happen. And then state, we are funded in part from Kentucky and Indiana for our state funds as well. Just a quick look at our budget on our operating expense. The majority of our expenses are direct labor and for benefits. Those are the two red pie pieces. And then purchase transportation, that is the contract or purchase transportation that we have through our contract with MV for the paratransit service. Then the next two biggest components are materials and supplies and services. So that would include fuel, any maintenance on our vehicles that we send out, parts, the things that we need to keep our buses running and in good condition. On the revenue side, the majority of our operating dollars come from the Mass Transit Trust Fund, or MTTF collections. That's the green shape. That's about 80% of our operating dollars through that Jefferson County occupational license fee. The next biggest is from our fare box at about $8.3 million, and then sort of split between state and some other smaller revenue categories. Wanted to show just a few slides. We have revamped our monthly performance report. So this is information that we share with the TARC Board of Directors and then any community members. It's available on our website, ridetarc.org, and kind of gives a breakdown of our key metrics or key performance indicators and how we're looking at our performance and how we feel like we are doing, providing service out in the community. So the next slide I want to focus on is our ridership, and it shows our fixed route ridership and our paratransit ridership, and this shows the past 3 fiscal years. So the gray bar is fiscal year 19, the navy blue is fiscal year 20, and then the red is fiscal year 21. So in comparison to 19 and 20, our ridership is down. We, at sort of the low point of our response to COVID, we dropped about 70% and have kind of climbed up slowly. That is basically spot on with what we're seeing with other transit agencies and my colleagues around the country who are continuing to respond, but provide that essential service and keep those essential trips and essential workers getting where they need to go. So, not what you want to see, but certainly it is an indicator that people are limiting their travel and they are limiting their trips, which is a good thing as you're trying to respond and manage a pandemic. Fixed route on-time performance, this is certainly something that we are not exactly proud of, but want to be transparent about what we're doing well on and what we're not, what we're trying to work on to improve. So I'd like to get those on-time performance numbers up, both for paratransit and fixed route, but have had a number of detours and things that we've just been responding to over the past few months, as well as looking to get our staffing levels back up and have a really big focus on recruiting. So just a snapshot of our performance reporting over just a couple slides from our new performance report, and more information available at our website. Now to kind of switch into some ridership numbers, and for those of you that have been involved in transportation and KIPDA, this may look familiar. This is kind of a standard or consistent representation of our ridership by route. So the red bars indicate the routes, the TARC routes, so Route 18, Route 23, Route 94, and 4 on down to the other end. So we have, just about 4 or 5 routes that are about 50% of the ridership for our whole system. Then the next chunk is about 40%, and then those final small routes about 7%. So over the summer, TARC and the planning team and our team looked at ways that we can be, as cost effective as we can. And those routes that didn't have, or that had very, very, very low average weekday boardings were put on suspension or with some modification to service, just so that we can continue to be cost effective with the dollars that we have. But we want to look at some new things. And as we kicked off the comprehensive operations analysis back in 2019, kind of thinking about a different service philosophy, like how are the ways that we can provide faster travel times, more frequent service, increase our reliability, provide more direct service, simplify the system, and recognize that the need or the demand for flexible services or to be more on demand is really where customers are right now. And, making sure that we're always building all of that on a really solid foundation of safety and, a real true safety culture in our operations. We want to make sure that everybody gets where they need to go safely and that all of our employees come home the same way they came into work in the morning. So, thinking about a different way to provide service and sort of the things that we're looking to deliver in our service. Some kind of future service types. So this kind of breaks down that philosophy into maybe some more component pieces, looking at more frequent service, maybe on-demand zones, thinking about multimodal, whether that's microtransit, micromobility, making more connections between routes and sort of core routes that can feed into core service, having different places to transfer. We have kind of by the nature of how the region roadway and arterial networks are designed, most of the streets go into downtown and come back out. So that's how we've designed our system. But, is there a different way that we can put that together? And then again, to focus on, different ways that we can deliver service to the community. And with that van pool program, every commute counts, and our partnership with KIPDA being a really important component of that, especially as our communities continue to grow. I mean, we're not just a city. We haven't been just a city for a long time. It's definitely a region, and certainly the KIPDA board is well aware of the, comprehensiveness and complexity of how people travel in our region. some current funded projects. The COA that got started back in 2019 and has been a little bit on the back burner, kind of in a pause mode as we dealt with our COVID response. Then a long-range plan update that will sort of kick off as we wrap up our COA, and those will certainly this board and the TPC and TTC will have opportunities to, weigh in and hear as that project progresses, because it's important for us to know, what the community and what our customers are thinking about as far as where we go in the future, and how we want to how we can deliver service that is, really more meaningful and more desirable for the community. We want to build on our current technology platform, certainly some of those customer-facing applications that we have, and continuing with that sustainability program plan. We have a small mobility services study that we're working on, and I bring those up, certainly to keep everyone aware, but also really to say thank you, because we would not be able to do these types of projects and think about this type of planning work if we didn't have, grant funds, or we didn't have the partnership with KIPDA or, Louisville Metro KYTC. These really allow us to do more and think about the future in a more comprehensive way, so that we can continue to maximize the return that we have for our funds that we get. And kind of to wrap up, again, thank you. It's this week of Thanksgiving, and just feeling grateful for a lot of things, and happy to be back in Louisville. I'm born and raised in Louisville, so happy to be back. Our focus kind of on the next little bit certainly is going to be sustained attention on our response to COVID, looking at improving our service delivery and reliability, have some work to do, training and development with our team at TARC. And then, really looking forward to more conversations with local stakeholders and people in the community. And I know before I know it, we'll be at the fiscal year 2022 budget and kind of that federal landscape. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and happy to take any questions if there is time on the agenda for that. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. Any questions? If not, let's move on. And thank you once again, Ms. Butler. And we look forward to working with you in the upcoming year.
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right, item number 6 is the agency fiscal year 2020 audit. I'd like to defer to Tom at this point. Tom Pope. Tom?
Thank you. We have with us today John Hill and Ben Dennison from MCM, and they'll be going over the draft of our audit. So I'll turn it over to those two gentlemen.
Thanks, Tom. This is Ben Dennison. I'm a manager here in the Lexington office. Also on, as Tom said, is John Hill, who's a partner out of Louisville. First off, thank you guys for having us on, squeezing us in this week. We appreciate it. I'll share my screen and go over the audit with you guys. And then once I'm done, John will hop in and go over a second document called a management communication with you guys. And again, this is just a draft of the audit, as Tom mentioned. This has to go through our kind of checks and balances, and also the APA reviews this. I don't expect many tweaks to this, to be honest. There'll probably be a few changes to the notes, but nothing to the opinion or to the numbers in the report. Starting off here in the independent auditor's report, we have audited the accompanying financial statements of KIPDA, and then these statements are management's responsibility, along with the footnotes. And as of now, this is what everybody cares about. The opinion in these financials is a clean audit opinion. There were no modifications made to our opinion. And then one thing to call to your attention is this emphasis of a matter as far as the change in reporting model. KIPDA went from what's called a business type reporting model to a governmental fund reporting model, which basically is it's a modified cash basis reporting model. Really, at the end of the day, there's no change to your net position or your change in net position, just a different way to get there. Just to hit some of the highlights, guys, and I'll turn it over to John. On the statement of net position, really, you guys trended pretty comparable to last year overall. Cash is down a little bit, receivables are up a little bit, and that's mainly due to timing, but really no major changes here. The net OPEB liability and the pension liability were updated by the actuary. I think you guys know about those. Those aren't going to get paid next year. Those will get, paid many, many years down the road. And then most of this deficit here that you show in your net position is related to the pension and the OPEB, not necessarily to the operations of KIPDA. The statement of activities, this breaks down your program revenues and expenses by function. Overall, there was a negative change in that position of about 460,000. And again, in some of the footnotes, Tom mentioned this, that this is mainly due to pension expense. That's really a high level of your guys' financials. I did want to touch on one more thing. Since KIPDA gets so much federal funding, you guys also have a single audit. This schedule of federal expenses here kind of breaks down what all they received and spent during the year. And just to touch on it briefly, page numbers are different than in here. There's a couple reports in the back that are required for the single audit. These are also clean, unmodified opinions. And for the year 2020, we audited the Highway Planning and Construction Program as your major program. Again, no findings there. We're still kind of wrapping up some testing, but nothing to note as of yet. It's been a very, I would say, straightforward audit. Really thanks to Tom's team for getting us what we need to do the audit timely and efficiently. If you guys have any questions on the audit, I can go into them. I know it was quick and at a high level, but I think it's kind of what you guys wanted. And then I'll turn it over to John to do the management communication if there's no questions.
Questions? Okay, turn it over to John then, if you would.
All right, thanks, Ben. I'm going to go through what our standards require as communications with this committee. You'll see here on this page 3, I do just like to point it out. You'll see our contact information. If you ever have any questions or concerns, suggestions for improvement, feel free to reach out to anybody on the engagement. Starting on the next page, talks about our required communication. Just two things to really point out here. One, these are our opinions that are within the financial statements, and Ben's already kind of walked through those, but if you turn to the next page, Ben.
Sure.
It's just a reminder that these are your financial statements, including the footnotes and the supplemental schedules, and those are your responsibility. Overall, as Ben has mentioned, the audit has gone very well. You will not see or hear a lot of noise or things that need to be reported to this committee in this presentation. Our plan, timing, and scope has pretty much gone according to plan as we laid out with Tom at the beginning. As Ben mentioned, we do have to go through our final independent review, and then, as you're aware, the APA also has to kind of sign off on the financial statements before we release them. We were actually out in the field for the majority of the audit, which was kind of unusual in this time of COVID. We were kind of caught right in the break. Starting in March, for a long period of time, we were doing everything remotely, and it looks like we're heading back in that direction again for this upcoming few months. On the next page, page 7, happy to report a couple items here. There's really no material adjustments that were made to the financial statements. There are some various entries that were posted to the governmental funds to kind of true those up as under the new reporting. And then there were no unrecorded or waived audit differences, which would be an audit difference that we found that management had decided that they did not want to report. So all the amounts are reflected within your financial statements. Accounting policies, as Ben mentioned, really the only significant change this year was in the reporting model. No other real significant changes in accounting policies as are reflected in the financial statements. On the next 2 pages, just want to talk briefly about accounting estimates. You'll see there are some significant estimates that are inherent within your financial statements, accounts receivable and the related reserves. As we've talked about in prior years, the net pension liability as well as the OPEB liability have significant estimates in them as they are actuarially determined, and they are 1 year in arrears. We have audited and looked at those estimates and are comfortable with the amounts that are reflected in your financial statements. significant financial statement disclosures, you'll see a listing there. No real significant new disclosures as compared to what you've seen in prior years. On page 12, new accounting pronouncements that will be coming out. The one thing I would point out here is with the advent of COVID, the GASB, as well as all real financial auditing regulatory boards have implemented delays in all the adoption of all new standards. So those have all been pushed back for at least 1 year and maybe pushed back again. On internal control, a couple things to point out. One, we did not become aware of any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies that need to be reported to this committee. Obviously, if something wasn't being reconciled or any internal control issues were noted, we would report that to you. And on the next page, during our audit procedures, we did not become aware of any fraud or legal acts that need to be reported. And really the rest of the document is kind of just a yes, no significant difficulties in performing the audit, no disagreements. We do like to point out on page 16 that we do monitor and take very seriously our independence requirements, and we are independent of the organization. We're not aware of any opinion shopping, or the organization has gone to other accountants to try to get an answer because they didn't like the answer they were giving us, or we were giving you. Sorry about that. And then the last item, we will get a representation letter dated as of the date of our report date from management. It is a significant document and shows all the representations that management is making to us. So that's kind of the required communications. As we've noted, the audit's gone very well. You saw there wasn't a whole lot that had to be communicated as far as discrepancies to this committee, and we'd be happy to take any questions at this time.
Okay, thank you so much, John. All right, any questions? Tom, let me go back to you. First of all, I want to thank you and your staff, your team for looks like a fine job. Anything you want to add before we get a motion for this, receiving this draft, Tom?
No, just to restate what John and Ben said is that we're requesting that the board act to receive the report in a draft form with the understanding that it's subject to further review and review and approval by the state auditor's office, and that if there's no significant changes, we would like approval to release the final audit to our funders before the next board meeting.
All right, I need a motion then to receive this draft.
I make a
So
motion,
moved.
Beverly.
Beverly, and who was the second?
Todd Pollock.
Okay, well, Beverly and Todd, any questions, anyone before we call for a vote?
I think they did a fine job.
Yes, they did. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you, Tom. Let's
Thank
move
you.
on with number 7, Regional Transportation Council. Randall?
Thank you,
Accidents
Mr. Chair.
required on this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is board agenda item number 7. The KIPDA Regional Transportation Council met via Zoom at 11 o'clock. The first item was approval of the minutes from May 28th. The next agenda item was the public comment period, and there were no comments. The third agenda item was the county transportation updates in Shelby, Spencer, and Trimble counties. The fourth agenda item was Kentuckians for Better Transportation update. Jennifer Kirchell is the new executive director for KBT, and the KBT conference will be held virtually January 20th through 22nd. Also, the next agenda item, we had Commissioner Bobby Joe Lewis of Rural Municipal Aid spoke, and also Craig Caudill of Rural Municipal Aid spoke to Regional Transportation Council members. The next agenda item was the coordinated KIPDA staff spoke on the coordinated human service transportation plan and did a presentation. A motion was from Jim Travis on the final coordinated human service transportation plan, and it was seconded by Ryan Lemke. The next Regional Transportation Council meeting will be January 28th, 2021 via Zoom. Judge Riley made a motion to adjourn, and it was seconded by Ryan Lemke. Need a motion to approve this report, Mayor?
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the report?
So moved.
Move David Eaton, Mayor Shelbyville.
And also, Mayor, I have one other agenda item. It's the Regional Transportation Planning Program. that comes through KYTC. It was cut back in fiscal
Well,
2021.
Well, I need to get a motion on this or get
Okay.
voted on this, then we move forward. Okay, I have a motion. Who made the motion?
I made it. David Eaton, Mayor of Shelbyville.
Okay, all right. And I think, Bill, you made the second?
I made second. That's fine, Brian. Thanks.
Oh, okay. All in favor of this motion, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now, Randall, what you got now?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. The next is the Regional Transportation Planning Program contract. It was cut back in early fiscal 2021, and I got good news on it. I'm asking board to ratify that between KIPDA and KYTC for transportation planning in Henry, Shelby, Spencer, and Trimble counties to restore those funds back to the original amount for fiscal 2021.
So
Any
moved.
questions? Got a motion? Got a second? Bill Durfee made a
Second,
motion.
Todd Pollock.
All righty. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
No opposed? All right. Thank you. Motion carries. Randall, is that all you got?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Okay, number 8 is the Transportation Policy Committee, Amanda Spencer. Amanda?
Thank you, Chairman. This is agenda item 8 on page 2 of your packet, and we had another full TPC meeting today at 12:30 following Randall's meeting. And Carrie Butler was kind enough to also update our group on current initiatives and future plans at TARC, and we appreciated that very much. TPC's looking so forward to working with Carrie. The Policy Committee approved Amendment 2 to the MTP and TIP, 28 new or revised projects, and we were very pleased to have 42 meaningful public comments on Amendment 2, even during COVID, so that was great. TPC also approved 2 clarifications to our Project Management Guidebook, PMG, and the PMG outlines all the rules around how projects that are funded with MPO's dedicated funds, how those are to be administered, and those clarifications were around how many times we'll entertain cost increases 4 times a year, and also clarifying that because the rules around phase shifts were so dramatically different with this new PMG, that it's a clean slate approach. So no phase shifts that sponsors have previously requested will be counted against sponsors under this new guidebook. TPC also approved 62 phase shifts, and some of that's due to the new rules, and 6 cost increases during the meeting. Nick Vale shared with the group the fiscal year 20 obligations. So these are the federal dedicated funds that were obligated, 4.6 million in Indiana, 9.3 million in Kentucky. TPC, just like with RTC, gave final approval on that Coordinated Human Services Transportation Plan. So now that document can be used by TARC to award the Section 5310 funds. Staff awarded the 2020 KITE Award, Kentucky, Indiana Transportation Excellence. Carrie mentioned that, and it did go to the Dixie Highway Project, to TARC, Louisville Metro, and KYTC. Here's the trophy we'll be getting to each of those agencies. Congratulations to them. And also want to mention our first runner-up was Oldham County, the park and ride off I-71 at Kentucky 329. We also shared with the group the administrative modification 10, which is just those minor changes to the TIP. And last, Mayor Chapman put together a nominating committee who will come back in January and bring a nomination for a vice chair for next year for TPC. No committee meetings planned for December. That concludes my report, and I do ask for board approval. I'd be glad to take any questions.
Any questions? I'd entertain a motion to approve the report.
So move, Todd Pollock.
Thank you. Second?
Second, Brian.
Bill. All right, sir. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion does carry. Thank you so much, Amanda. Item number 9 is the streetlight data overview. Andy Rush. Andy?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to try to share my screen. I've got 4 or 5 slides to share with everyone. If everyone can. Everyone seeing some slides there? Hope so. I'm here today to request a renewal of a KIPDA contract with Streetlight. This time last year, we entered into agreement with Streetlight for the first time to be a subscriber to the Streetlight Insight platform. What the Streetlight Insight platform is It's a data tool for us as transportation planners that provides us with what's truly is state-of-the-art transportation data. The bread and butter is their origin destination data that we have utilized to, effectively replace most of what we get out of what's known as a household travel survey. So where are trips coming from and going to? A lot of the data comes from, or all the data I should say, comes from either GPS devices and trucks or what's known as location-based services. So those are the geolocating data that comes from the apps that we have in our tablets and smartphones. As I mentioned, we've been a subscriber since this time last year when this board approved KIPDA enter into a contract. On the right side there, that shows our coverage area that we've subscribed to. That's what all nine KIPDA counties plus a 5-mile buffer surrounding it would look like, if anybody ever wanted to know. So we get the same data out in Trimble County and even into Madison, Indiana, let's say, as we do in downtown Louisville. So some of the things we've been working on at KIPDA for 2020 within the streetlight. Of course, one of the things that surprised us, who knew that we'd be tracking the impact of COVID-19 on traffic levels. That the pictures on the right show, on the top right, show by county the rapid decrease in traffic levels across this region, and then the subsequent rebound. And what it also shows is what's interesting, I think, there, those top lines are the rural counties, while the bottom line, the blue, is Jefferson County. So rural counties did indeed rebound faster and at a higher level than Jefferson County did. Down the bottom, we show just a depiction of how our traffic trends have changed in terms of the time of day. The gold colored bars represent the morning peak hours, 7 to 10 a.m. or 6 to 10 a.m. I should say. That has disappeared. And as we know, I think if we drive around, that's basically disappeared. And so that has not rebounded. The other times of day have rebounded, whether or not it's commuter trips or not, that's a different story perhaps. But that morning peak period, people are traveling less. They started traveling less back in March. They continue to travel less during those hours. That's just one example of what we've used Streetlight for, and we certainly didn't anticipate using it for that. We've definitely used it to do some of our regional travel demand model development in terms of the origin destination data. And we've also found it to be a great benefit to do what I've called synthetic traffic counts. By synthetic, I mean, we can, if one of you guys gave us a call or sent us an email, we could tell you what the traffic was, a good estimate, anywhere in this region, any segment, what's it like north or south of the intersection. Basically, that data is available to us, and we can usually turn that around to you, same day type thing. Moving on, we used it, if the bread and butter isn't the origin destination data, it's right here in these project level analyses that we've done. These range from big studies that KYTC has going on. I-65 is being studied, as many of y'all know, from Washington Expressway up into downtown. Likewise, I-64 from downtown to Washington Expressway is also being studied. So that top right, for example of the data we get from Streetlight that shows drivers that use the Cochrane Hill Tunnel going the eastbound direction. Where do we see them again? So those larger bars show that, well, of course, most of them make it in the section near St. Matthews between Cannons and Washington Expressway, but it also tells us how many trips cross the county line into Shelby County and how many maybe are really truly long range trips going out into Franklin County and beyond in the eastbound direction. We've done a number of corridor studies for Louisville Metro. The bottom right is a depiction of a screenshot from the Streetlight platform that we've done in New Albany. So it's kind of a smaller scale version of the top one, showing how traffic changes on State Street there in New Albany near I-265. We've also done some small level at just individual intersections. We can basically, like I mentioned, we can do traffic counts, synthetic traffic counts. We can also do turning movement counts, effectively synthetic turning movement counts. Those are real interesting. So we've done those in perhaps even more rural contexts than most of the studies we've done. Sum total, Streetlight estimates that we've done over $6.2 million analysis. Now, I don't believe that for a second, but I'm here to tell you that there is some real cost savings. As an example, on some of these I-64, I-65 big studies, the Transportation Cabinet and their consultants, they do they have purchased this subscription on a project level, quite a bit different. We have more functionality than they would. It does cost them about 10 grand a pop. So we are truly bringing some value to the region in that regard. The household travel survey that I mentioned, estimates of that were about $1 million for a region of our size. So 6.2 is a little high, but I'm here to say that we are getting our money's worth, or I firmly believe that. Next year, if this board approves renewal of this contract, we look to continue a lot of the same stuff we've been doing. One thing we have on the horizon is a traffic count estimate resource, and by that I mean we basically can have a resource that shows that will show exactly what I'm talking about at our fingertips, a traffic count not on every road like we have now, but on every single segment of every road. So that's pretty exciting. We're not ready to call them as good as the traffic counts that we've traditionally gotten, but in a pinch, it worked just fine. One of the things we're excited about is our Metropolitan Transportation Plan development. So we're going to change kind of from the old school approach that we've used in the past, perhaps the tried and true methods. We're going to step our game up a little bit for a little higher tech, state-of-the-art approach. We're going to continue, as I tell the folks that I send out once or twice a month email with the COVID-19 traffic trends. I'm going to keep sending that out as long as they find it interesting, and I think they still are. And so if anybody does want to jump on that list, just let me know, and I'll be happy to share that to you. We're going to extend additional travel model development. This next year is going to be a big year census-wise in terms of the urbanized area over the next year or two. So we'll be making some additional changes there. Another thing we're excited about is research with U of L. They've caught on to that we have streetlight, and so some of the validation of these traffic numbers they've been helping us out with. So I'd add to this list anything that you guys are interested in us studying. Just let myself or Amanda or somebody in the transportation division know, and we'd be happy to help you out. So with that, that's all I have today. If there's any questions, I'd love to take them. If not, we are requesting that we renew the contract. The contract is in the same amount as it was for last year. Last year we put out the RFP, and that allowed, in the response we have from Streetlight, and the agreement we have with Streetlight allows us to renew for up to one more year, 3 years total. The number is $109,963. So it's not free, but perhaps it's not even cheap, but it is a very, very, very valuable resource that we've used the heck out of this year. Thank you.
Okay, I need a motion then to approve the agreement with KIPDA and the streetlight data. Have a motion?
This is Todd Pollock. So move.
All right, Todd, got a motion? Second?
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion second. Any questions of Andy? All in favor of this motion, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion does carry. Item number 10 is the SIDS plan 2021 update. Hayden?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. As you know, we are designated as the Economic Development District for our region. And with that designation, we are required to create a 5-year comprehensive economic development strategy. And within that, we are also required to do a yearly update. So today we are seeking approval for our 2021 SEDS update. And I'm going to go ahead and share our screen. One second. Share my screen, sorry. Is it working? Okay. Okay. So this is the website. This is our homepage. I'm just going to give you a brief walkthrough. It's very similar to the website you may have seen last year. If you remember, we did transition from the document to the online resource. So it's pretty much similar, but it's just aesthetically changed. So I'll just walk you through a little bit of the changes. If you scroll down on the homepage, these are the 4 main components of the SEDS. You have the summary background, just gives a brief overview of our region. The SWOT analysis, I'll go ahead and show you. It identified our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, as well as regional service priorities, economic development strategies, and capital improvements, all of which were identified by respondents of a public survey from all of our counties in our region. The next component is the action plan. You'll see a goal breakdown of the 5 goals, and then underneath is where you can access the corresponding goal pages with information on each of them. I won't go through all of them. And the final component is the evaluation framework. It's pretty much the same as last year. However, we added the status column on the right that gives you an opportunity to see if things are ongoing or complete and gives more of a progression of the SEDS in our region. And in addition to those 4 components, we were required to add 2 new components this year. The first is a pandemic response section. So this outlines the state and KIPDA's regional pandemic response and action plan moving forward with assisting our communities and local officials with pandemic matters. We also, I would just like to note, we are currently evaluating COVID-19 data, and we plan on putting that into a COVID-19 economic impact page for you all. And this will give you data that is indicative of how the pandemic has affected your community. So unemployment, small business revenue, and other trends of that sort. So look forward to that in the near future. And then the second new addition is the Opportunity Zones page. Let's see if it loads. This page gives an overview of opportunity zones, what they are. This is a map of the zones within our region. We do only have opportunity zones in Jefferson and Bullitt counties. So scrolling a little further, you'll find maps zoomed in with the census, abbreviated census tract number. And that way, also contact information for Jefferson and Bullitt in case you would like to inquire about more information on these zones. But if you scroll further, there is a table below where you can find the corresponding census tract, abbreviated census tract number, find population data, median household income, and the opportunity zone designation type. So as well as resources on opportunity zones. So this is a good resource. And of course, we have our special regional facts section. Let me take you there. So we have all of the county breakdowns as well as KIPDA. I'm just going to go ahead and show you KIPDA. So you scroll like this. We have population data. Sorry, the map is a little big. It's not supposed to be that big, but the population data, demographic, economic, housing, food insecurity, age breakdown, top businesses, and as well as industry data for your region. So that's all I'll go through. If you want to check out the website yourself, feel free. And that concludes my presentation on the site. We are requesting approval from the board for the 2021 update.
Okay, thank you so much. I do need a motion to approve the 2021 update. Do I hear a motion?
Chairman, I'll make that motion, but Hayden, I'd like to point out that on that map, on the regional facts, when you click on the Trimble link, it comes up Henry County.
Okay, well, we actually have, I think the editor that we used has a little bug. So we're realizing these few things, so we're getting that in order. But the site itself should be live and should be working. If you do see anything wonky like that, just give me an email and let me know. And we'll also send an email to you guys and let you know when we have that COVID-19 impact data available, because I know everyone is probably really interested in that.
Okay. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And Chairman, I'll make that motion to approve this.
All righty, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Jim Travis, second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. Item number 11 is hazard mitigation plan. Olivia?
Hello. Many of you have seen me speak at your fiscal court meeting or attended the Regional Hazard Mitigation Council meeting 2 weeks ago. So I am just popping in to remind you that we are in the midst of updating our 2021 Hazard Mitigation Plan. And we have representatives from each of our counties, and that list was included on the board meeting agenda today. So if there's any corrections that need to be had, please contact me. I think we have, I'll just read that out really quickly. For Bullitt County, we have Kenny Harden and Justin Warren. For Henry County, we're unconfirmed. I don't think we have anyone from Henry County with us today. For Oldham, Jerry Nero and Jim Urban. Shelby County, Chris Spalding and John Park. Spencer County, Chris Limp and John Riley. And Trimble, Andrew Stark and Todd Pollock. So if you need any changes, just send me an email or give me a call and I can do that. But those are your regional representatives who attend our regional meeting. Our next regional meeting will be in March. Will it be virtual or in person? Who knows? Hopefully in person, maybe, but we'll see. I also wanted to remind you that we have a website. A huge part of the hazard mitigation plan is participation. That is how our communities pay for this plan, is through their in-kind donation of their time and through public participation. Now that has been incredibly challenging given COVID-19. And so a way we are trying to communicate with our communities so that we create the best plan and also get as much time as possible is through our hazard mitigation website, which is KIPDAHazardMitigation.org. It's on our website, it's on our social media. That can give you an overview of the hazards in your region and in your communities, and then also contains some surveys we would like y'all to do so we get an idea of what you think is important for your community. And then also contains the feedback map, which is where you can go on and identify problem areas in your county or your city so that we're aware of them. And we have a time tracking form. So anytime you spend doing that, you can track through a really simple time tracking form that's on the website as well. So again, that's KIPDAHazardmitigation.org. So please check it out. And again, this is a requirement for our counties, and it's been really difficult with COVID-19. So we're trying to adapt that as best as we can so that y'all can still participate and we can create a really robust hazard mitigation plan. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for your report, Olivia. Appreciate
Mayor
it.
Mayor Chapman,
Yes,
I'm just gonna pop in here real quick on that. I just want to follow that up with Olivia. You know, she talked about in-kind donation. I just want to make it clear that what she means is a local match requirement. So it is required that we do in-kind contributions so that so our communities don't have to pay a cash payment towards the hazard mitigation plan update. And so tracking time and making sure that if you are getting on the website and you have members participating when Olivia is presenting at your fiscal court or city council meetings, that if they are present, that they get online and they make sure that we get that time counted. I just want to reiterate the importance of that. That's it.
Okay, Danielle, thank you so much. Any other comments? All righty, moving on to number 12 then, Medicaid open enrollment. Beth, you're up.
Hello, everybody. Medicaid open enrollment is ongoing. The protest that had been filed by Anthem for not getting awarded the RFP, the judge ruled in their favor on October the 31st. So Medicaid open enrollment started as scheduled on November the 2nd. That will end on December the 15th. Due to that ruling by the judge, there are now 6 MCOs available for Medicaid members for 2021. Those will be Aetna, Anthem, Humana, Passport by Molina, United Healthcare, and WellCare. As of the data on November the 1st, it looks like traditional Medicaid MCO enrollment in our region, which is Region 3, is up about 10% from the same time last year. But the fee for service Medicaid, which includes the pandemic presumptive eligibility coverage that the governor has offered for up to 120 days per calendar year, is up 57% in Region 3. So that is pretty significant. That pandemic coverage will still be available as long as there is a state of emergency extended by the Department for Health and Human Services. Federal marketplace enrollment is also ongoing. That will also end on December the 15th. We don't have any projected data right now for 2021 for healthcare.gov enrollments, but we are seeing in our region a decrease. There has been a steady decrease in QHP enrollment since the individual mandate was repealed in 2017. In Region 3, our connectors are seeing fewer people willing to enroll due to there had been a letter that was circulated that there was going to be a significant increase in the plans this year. Also, the presumptive eligibility is still available, and most folks, if they are still have some presumptive eligibility left, would like to use that because it's free. For the folks that we have enrolled so far, we have not seen a significant increase at all in the plans. They look like they will remain about the same. In 2022, we will transition back to the state-based exchange for the federal plans. So that should be available by open enrollment next year. We're very excited about that. And finally, Governor Beshear has announced that he will be taking place, that Kentucky will be taking part in the National Enrollment Day on December the 10th. So more details for that will be coming once we have information from the cabinet. And that concludes my report.
All right, Beth. Any questions of Beth? All righty. Moving on to number 13, the SHIPS program and Medicare open enrollment. Jessica? Good evening.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is more of a reminder than anything. We're currently in, on the flip side of what Beth just talked about, we're in Medicare open enrollment as well. This is just a very strong reminder to be getting that information out there to your constituents. We are regularly sharing information on our social media. We would appreciate if you all could pick that up and share it too. I'm saying this because I'm a little concerned that we're not reaching people this year. Even with all of our best efforts, we've only received a couple hundred phone calls, which is down for us. So the people that are new to Medicare or re-enrolling, we've somehow not been able to touch and reach. So just a reminder, it ends on December 7th. It's important that we start processing evaluations a few days before that at least, because if we receive a call on the last day, it's very difficult to come forth and get everything in place for someone. If a person is on Medicare now and goes to re-enroll and their plan does not exist, that could put them in a bind. So when you're talking to people, be sure to mention that. They want to make sure that their plan is still available, and they can do that by calling us. But yes, just thank you for all that you all are doing and have done. Just a little reminder, share that again. Just one more good time for us, if you don't mind. So thank you and happy holidays.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Appreciate it a lot. All right, number 14, a November personnel report. Kelly? Good evening.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Just one new hire in the month of November. Carla DeLong has been hired as our part-time case manager for our Michelle P. Medicaid waiver in social services. She started November 2nd. She has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice with a minors in psychology and sociology from IU Southeast. She came to KIPDA from My Care Family Community Supports, where she worked as a residential coordinator. We currently have one permanent position that is vacant, and that is the economic resiliency planner. And that job description, salary information is available on our website. Currently, our staff count is 81 full-time permanent, 3 part-time permanent, and 5 full-time temporary. That concludes my report. If there are no questions, action is requested to accept this report.
Okay. I need a motion to accept this report from Kelly.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All right. Rick got a second. Okay. Any questions? If not, any questions? All in favor of the accept the report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Kelly. Item number 15 is the state longevity recognition. Kelly, there you're up again. Go for it.
Okay, thank you. So this is, usually our annual luncheon and board meeting. We like to recognize people who have put up with me for a long time here at KIPDA. So, and we do have a lot of longevity here. And I think that speaks to the type of environment that we have here at KIPDA. It's a nice place to work. We have nice people to work with. So I wanted to recognize those staff members who have been here. I'm going to start with 5 years. We have Jenny Lee, who is our fiscal officer, Brittany Baines, who's our ADRC specialist 3, Justin Carter, which is senior regional planner. And by the way, these are people who have, throughout this calendar, this crazy COVID-19, this is people who have had these anniversaries in the calendar year 2020. Nick Vale has been here 5 years as Transportation Planner 3. Chantrice Belmar, ADRC Specialist 3, has been here 5 years. Staff who've been here 10 years, Kathy Kilgore, our support staff team leader. Jennifer Martinez, our current accountant. Rita Wells, a case manager, and Jessica Elkin, our director of social services. Thank you, Jessica. 15 years, Jarrett Haley. Thank you, Jarrett. 15 years this year. Susan Travis, our administrative assistant, has been here 15 years. Stacy Burton, our Every Commute Counts manager, has been here 20 years. How does she do it? Randall Embry, Rural Transportation Planner 2. Thank you, Randall. We appreciate you. Olivia Crossland, case manager in social services. And then we actually have 2 staff members who put up with Tom for all these years. Carla Alvis, who's a case manager, and Colleen Curran, who's also a case manager. Just wanted to, say shout out to those folks who do a really good job and are dedicated to our mission here at KIPDA. There is no action requested. Just wanted to make that announcement. If any of you work with those staff members, if you can, say congratulations and thank you, that'd be much appreciated.
Thank you, Kelly. And that speaks well of the organization, I think, for this longevity, no doubt. Item number 16 is our October financial statements, down the agenda a little bit. Honorable David Vogel, we'll return to you. Okay, Tom, pick it up if you would, please.
Okay, thank you. In your packet on page, starting on page 33 is the October financial report. And we're 33% through the year. And these budgets, as we mentioned before, are just a continuation of the FY20 budget. We're optimistic that early in calendar year 21, we'll be able to come back with a budget that'll finalize and show what our actual funding is. We've been advised that there shouldn't be any significant cuts at the state, but we haven't been officially notified of what the amount will be. But we're hopeful that we'll be able to come back with a budget early in the calendar year. But at this point in time, we've been keeping an eye on our spending, and we're not seeing anything that creates any concerns about the problems that we'll have, especially if the funding is essentially what it was last year. And the first page is a summary of work elements grouped by division, and the following is the agency-wide line revenues and expenses. And the last part of the report is the balance sheet, which shows we're in a sound financial position. I'll be glad to answer any questions anyone might have.
Okay, any questions? Okay, if not, I need a motion to approve the October financial statements.
So moved. John Riley.
Second?
Jim Travis.
All right, motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. Item number 17, the intergovernmental reviews. I understand A and B are okay. I need a motion to approve both of these intergovernmental reviews. Okay, motion.
So moved. Todd Pollock.
Okay, and a second.
Keith Griffey, second.
We've got a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion does carry. Moving right along to number 18, nominating committee. Honorable John Riley.
I'm going to defer to the director.
Thank you, Judge. The nominating committee met, and the officers for 2021 that are presented for board approval would be Kevin Beatty, serving as chairman in 2021, Judge David Vogel, serving as vice chairman, and having Judge Dan Eisen serving as the secretary treasurer, and then the immediate past chair being Byron Chapman for the executive committee for 2021. So The only addition would be Judge Eisen. So I presented to board for your all's approval for the 2021 slate of officers.
The motion would be in order to accept these.
So
I'll
moved.
make that motion to accept those nominations. Todd Pollock.
Second, Beverly.
Ready, have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you so much. Item number 19 is the bank resolutions, and I'll defer to Tom again. Tom?
Thank you. In your packet, starting on page 41 is a standard Fifth Third bank resolution. We will be asking approval for a new authorized signers for checks. On our regular account, we have 2 live signatures required, and on our CDL, because we have so many checks, we have 2 electronic signatures on that. But we have our regular account, we've got our CDL payroll account, and then we have the KIPDA employee payroll account. It's just an in and out. We make a deposit each pay period based on the actual, and we would have 3 resolutions filled out, and we would include on there the names of the authorized signers, which would be the executive committee that was just mentioned by Jarrett, and then Jarrett and myself, and again, two signatures would be required on each of our live checks. And then we would have Jenny Lee and Gina Hassner would be also authorized to do any stop payments. Jenny with the regular KIPDA account, and Gina handles the CDL PDS account right now. I'll be glad to answer any questions anyone might have.
Any questions? We do need a motion to approve this bank resolution.
So move, Byron.
All right, I have a motion.
Second.
Have a second.
Kevin Beatty.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? Motion does carry. Thanks, Tom. Item
Thank
number 20 is executive director's action. Jared Haley. Jared?
With us not meeting in December, every year in November, we ask the board for approval to allow me to make any decisions, normal decisions in the course of business for the agency, and then bring it back for ratification in January. If there is anything significant or out of the ordinary, those decisions would be brought before the executive committee for their approval, and then brought to the board in January for ratification. So this is just allowing us to continue conducting business, considering we don't have a meeting in December. So action is requested.
Okay.
So moved.
All right, Bill.
Second.
Second. I have a
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
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 Does carry. Okay, item number 21, executive director's report. That is you, Jared, please.
Well, first, I just want to thank everybody for being here. 2020 has been definitely a difficult year, but we've been able to continue conducting business thanks to the commitment and engagement for our board of directors. We haven't met in person since February, but thanks to your all's commitment, we've been able to continue conducting business virtually through all these months. So thank you all. I really appreciate that. I want to have a special recognition to Mayor Chapman. He has come in every month to help run these meetings for both the board and the TPC. So thank you, Mayor Chapman. And then additionally, the remainder of our executive committee, Kevin Beatty, Judge Vogel, Judge Riley, they've been quick to respond to any questions we've had or any issues. So I just really want to thank them for their leadership. And then finally, I'd be remiss just to compliment our staff. For the KIPDA staff, as you can see, looking at the screen, their work environments, have just completely been altered, working from home, working with having to try to navigate new software, Microsoft Teams, to keep conducting business. And it's really pretty remarkable the amount of work that we've been able to get done. And just, I really want to recognize our staff because it's really been remarkable. We will be sending out the annual report here within the next few weeks. So I really encourage you all to take the time to review that and just see some of the accomplishments and achievements. Since we didn't get to celebrate them this month at what would be our usual luncheon, I just, again, just recognize our staff. As Kelly went over, we have a tremendous staff, very talented and very committed. So thank you all, and thank you all to the board of directors for helping us continue operating through this difficult year. We look forward to next year. I think there's a lot of reason for optimism. So hopefully we can be back and meeting again in person. But I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas. And I'll go ahead and just kind of read through the slate of meetings for the month of January when we will be getting back together. January 12th, the Regional Planning Council will meet at 11 a.m. The Regional Water Management Council will also meet on January 12th at 1:30. On January 13th, the Transportation Technical Coordinating Committee will meet at 1 o'clock. And then on January 28th, the Transportation Policy Committee will meet at 12:30. The Regional Transportation Council will meet at 1. And the January Board of Directors meeting will be at 2. And obviously, we'll be sending out the meeting invitation in advance, but I just wanted to go ahead and have those marked on your calendar. So thank you all. And again, thank you all for your support this year.
Thank you, Jared, for all you do for the organization. I think it works well because it has a good director, and we thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, item number 22, any other business come before this board? Well, number 23, a motion to adjourn. Who would like to make that?
So moved.
Okay, we got a motion. We got a second. All right, do we have a second or did I miss that one?
I'll second it.
Okay, all right, all in favor, say aye and leave.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Goodbye.